The grand chamber of the Unified Council of Species stretched upward into darkness, its crystalline walls glowing with a soft blue light. Commander James Walker stood at the center platform, his weathered hands gripping the edges of the podium. Around him, rising in concentric circles, sat the representatives of over 200 alien species. Their quiet chuckles and whispers echoed through the chamber like rustling leaves. Walker took a deep breath, his gray military uniform feeling unusually tight around his neck. The holographic display behind him showed Earth's latest achievement, the prototype dimensional drive. He had rehearsed this presentation countless times back on Earth, but facing these advanced beings made his mouth go dry. Distinguished members of the Council, he began, his voice steady despite his nerves. Earth presents its breakthrough in dimensional travel technology. The laughter started even before he could continue. It began with the tall ones, 12-foot beings of pure energy who had mastered dimensional travel millennia ago. Their crystalline bodies sparkled with amusement, sending rainbow patterns across the chamber walls. The ship diagram rotated slowly behind Walker. It wasn't impressive by alien standards, a simple vessel with experimental engines that could barely scratch the surface of dimensional travel. But it represented 20 years of human determination and ingenuity. The Earth Defense Force has successfully achieved controlled jumps through the first 3 dimensions. Walker continued, trying to ignore the growing sounds of amusement. A deep voice boomed from the upper tiers. 3 dimensions. How quaint. The speaker was Ambassador Brightlight, a being made of pure plasma contained within an environmental suit. We mastered 6-dimensional travel before your species discovered fire. More laughter followed. Walker noticed some representatives were recording the presentation, probably to share as entertainment with their homeworlds. Our scientists believe we can push beyond conventional limitations. Walker pressed on. We have detected unusual energy patterns that suggest. Patterns, interrupted another voice, this one belonging to a silicon-based life form. Your species can barely understand basic quantum mechanics. What patterns could you possibly detect that we haven't already mapped and cataloged? Walker felt his face growing hot, but years of military discipline kept his expression neutral. On the massive screens around the chamber, he could see his own image, a small, pink-skinned human standing alone before the galaxy's greatest powers. The contrast couldn't have been more striking. We request the Council's support in continuing our research, Walker said, following the diplomatic script he had been given. Earth believes that cooperation between. Earth believes. Hooted someone from the middle tier. Next they'll tell us they've invented faster-than-light travel. The chamber erupted in full laughter now. Even the usually stoic rock peoples, with their granite-like faces, were shaking with amusement. Their deep, rumbling chuckles made the floor vibrate beneath Walker's feet. But Walker had one more card to play. He activated his personal data pad, and the hologram behind him changed to show readings from their latest test. Strange energy patterns danced across the screen. Patterns the human scientists had only recently begun to understand. These readings suggest the existence of dimensional frequencies that. Commander Walker, the Council leader, spoke for the first time. The ancient being, with skin like polished platinum, raised a hand for silence. While we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, perhaps it would be best if you focused on developing your planetary defense systems instead. The galaxy can be a dangerous place for young races who reach too far, too fast. Was that a threat? Walker couldn't tell, but the meaning was clear enough. Earth was being told to stay in its place. Thank you for your time, Walker said stiffly, gathering his materials. As he turned to leave, the laughter resumed, softer now, but somehow more insulting. He walked through the towering exit doors with his head held high, but his hands were clenched into fists at his sides. In his earpiece, he heard a quiet beep, a message from Earth Command. Project Oracle is ready, a voice whispered in his ear. Return home immediately. Walker allowed himself a small smile as the transport pod carried him away from the council chamber. Let them laugh. They didn't know about the secret facility orbiting Neptune, or about Dr. Reed's breakthrough discovery. They had no idea what humanity was about to unleash upon the galaxy. The real show was about to begin. The observation deck of Neptune's orbital shipyard offered a perfect view of humanity's greatest secret. Dr. Anna Reed stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching as construction drones swarmed around the massive hull of the EDS Prometheus. The ship's dark metal surface absorbed the distant sunlight, making it look like a hole in space itself. "Status report," she said, not turning around. Her reflection in the reinforced glass showed a woman in her 40s, with tired eyes and messy brown hair that hadn't seen a proper brush in days. "The seventh dimensional core is stable," reported Tom Miller, her chief engineer. He stood a few steps behind her, tablet in hand. "But we're still getting those strange energy readings whenever we power it above 60%. "Those readings are exactly what we want," Anna said, finally turning to face her team. The observation room was filled with Earth's brightest minds, physicists, engineers, and mathematicians who had given up their public lives to work on Project Oracle. Through the window behind her, the Prometheus filled the view. Unlike the sleek, artistic ships of the alien races, it was built for pure function. Its bulky frame housed the most advanced technology humans had ever created, most of it reverse-engineered from the strange patterns they had discovered in the seventh dimension. "Commander Walker's message just came in," said Lisa Park, their communications officer. "The Council rejected our request for cooperation. They laughed at us, just like we expected." Anna nodded. "Good. The more they underestimate us, the better." She walked to the central holographic display, activating it with a wave of her hand. The image showed what the aliens couldn't understand: the complex web of seventh-dimensional energy that humans could somehow perceive. To the alien races, these patterns looked like random noise, mathematical errors to be filtered out. But the human brain saw something different. "Look at this," Anna said, zooming in on a particular pattern. Every alien race has been so focused on forcing their way through dimensions, they never noticed these natural pathways. It's like they've been breaking down doors while we found the key. The team gathered around the display. They had seen these patterns hundreds of times, but they never got tired of studying them. The swirling energy streams looked almost alive, pulsing with possibilities that defied conventional physics. "Final system check," Anna announced. "Tomorrow we begin full power tests." The room tensed. They all knew what that meant. After 3 years of secret development, they would finally see if their theories were correct. If they were wrong, the project would literally collapse into a dimensional void. If they were right, a loud alarm suddenly blared through the station. Red emergency lights began flashing. "Proximity alert," Lisa shouted from her console. "Multiple ships just appeared at the edge of the solar system. They're not broadcasting any recognition codes." Anna rushed to the window. Even from this distance, she could see new stars appearing in space, the engine flares of an approaching fleet. The pattern was familiar. She had studied enough alien ship formations to recognize this one. "It's the Crawl," she said, her voice tight. Somehow they found out. The Crawl Empire, the most aggressive member of the Council, and the one most opposed to human advancement. Their ships were already accelerating toward Neptune, their weapons charging. "Time to completion?" Anna asked, turning to Tom. He checked his tablet, fingers flying over the surface. "We need at least 12 more hours to finish the final calibrations. After that, maybe another 6 for system checks. We don't have 18 hours. Anna looked at the approaching fleet, then at her life's work floating in space before her. "Begin emergency startup procedures. We'll have to skip the final checks. That could destabilize the entire seventh-dimensional matrix." Tom protested. "We don't know what will happen if." "We don't have a choice," Anna cut him off. "If the Crawl reach us before we're ready, this station and everything we've worked for will be destroyed. They're not here to talk." She turned to face her team, seeing the fear and determination in their faces. Everything they had worked for came down to this moment. "Load the seventh dimensional core," she ordered. "And someone get Commander Walker on the line. Tell him to get up here now. We're about to show the galaxy what humanity can really do." The emergency lights cast red shadows across the Neptune station's main laboratory as Dr. Anna Reed rushed between monitoring stations. Around her, screens display the complex patterns of seventh-dimensional energy that only human eyes could truly understand. "Commander Walker's shuttle is docking now," Lisa announced from her communication station. "The crawl fleet will be in weapons range in 45 minutes. Anna nodded, her attention focused on the main display. The pattern she was watching seemed to dance and shift, like waves on an impossible ocean. To alien scientists, these readings were meaningless static, but humans saw something different, something beautiful. "Dr. Reed," Walker burst through the lab doors, still wearing his formal uniform from the council meeting. "What's the situation?" "See for yourself," Anna said, gesturing to the massive window overlooking the Prometheus. The ship's dark hull was now alive with pulses of energy, rippling across its surface like lightning underwater. She pulled up the original Discovery files on a nearby screen. 3 years ago, we noticed something strange during routine brain scans of dimensional researchers. When exposed to certain energy frequencies, human brains showed activity patterns that matched nothing in our medical records." "What does that mean in simple terms?" Walker asked, watching as engineering crews rushed to complete the final connections on the Prometheus. "It means," Tom explained, joining them at the window, "that human brains can see things other species can't. While they focused on brute forcing their way through dimensions 1 through 6, they completely missed the 7th because their minds literally cannot process it." Anna brought up another display, this one showing brain scans side by side. "Look at this. On the left, an alien brain processing dimensional energy. On the right, a human brain. Notice the difference. The alien scan showed simple, organized patterns, logical and straightforward. The human scan was a chaos of interconnected signals, seemingly random but forming a larger, more complex pattern. Our primitive brains," Anna continued, "make connections their superior minds can't. We don't just see the 7th dimension. We can interact with it naturally." A loud alarm interrupted them. Lisa's voice came over the speakers. "Crawl fleet is accelerating. New estimate puts them here in 30 minutes. Walker moved closer to the window, studying the Prometheus. "Will it work?" "In theory," Anna said. "The 7th dimension isn't just another layer of space-time. It's different. While other dimensions can be traversed, the 7th dimension can be inhabited. The Prometheus isn't just designed to travel through it. It's designed to become part of it. And that's why the Crawl are here," Tom added grimly. "Their spies must have caught wind of what we're building. They don't understand it, but they know it's dangerous to their dominance." Another alarm blared. On the main screen, new energy readings flashed red. "The dimensional core is destabilizing," one of the engineers shouted. "The power flow isn't balanced." Anna rushed to the control station. The patterns she had studied for years were shifting, changing in ways she had never seen before. But where others saw chaos, she saw possibility. "It's not destabilizing," she said slowly, watching the readings. "It's adapting. The 7th dimension. It's responding to our presence, like it's been waiting for us." Walker looked between the screens and the ship. "What exactly are you saying, Doctor?" "I'm saying that everything we thought we knew was wrong. The aliens weren't more advanced than us. They were just looking at everything from the wrong angle. Their logical, ordered minds prevented them from seeing what was right in front of them." She turned to face Walker, her eyes bright with understanding. "The 7th dimension isn't just another layer of reality. It's alive, in a way. And for some reason, human consciousness can connect with it naturally." The Prometheus's hull pulsed again, brighter this time. The energy patterns on the screen matched the rhythms perfectly, like a heartbeat synchronizing with another. 25 minutes until crawl contact. Lisa's voice was tense. Walker straightened his uniform. Then we better get moving. Dr. Reed, you're with me. Time to see if this discovery of yours can save humanity. As they hurried toward the docking tube that would take them to the Prometheus, Anna took one last look at the patterns on the screen. The aliens had laughed at humanity's primitive understanding of dimensions. They were about to learn that sometimes the primitive path was the right one all along. The bridge of the EDS Prometheus hummed with nervous energy as Commander Walker settled into the captain's chair. Dr. Reed stood at the main science station, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls as she monitored the seventh dimensional core's power levels. Crawl fleet entering visual range, announced Mark, the sensor officer. The main screen activated, showing dozens of crystalline ships approaching in perfect formation. Their angular designs caught Neptune's distant sunlight, making them look like shards of broken glass floating in space. Incoming transmission. Lisa reported from her communication station. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Walker nodded. Put it through. The screen flickered, revealing a crawl commander. Like all their species, its metallic skin reflected light like polished steel, and its 4 eyes glowed with intense red energy. When it spoke, its voice was deep and filled with contempt. Humans of Earth, the crawl commander said, your unauthorized dimensional experiments end today. Surrender your research facility and the prototype vessel immediately. Walker stood from his chair, facing the screen. This is Commander James Walker of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet has entered Earth-controlled space without permission. Withdraw immediately. A sound like grinding metal echoed through the speakers. Crawl laughter. You dare give us orders? We who mastered the stars before your kind learned to make fire. The commander's eyes flared brighter. We monitored your pathetic display of the council. You are children playing with forces beyond your comprehension. Power levels rising, Anna reported quietly. The core is responding to the increased tension. It's anticipating something. The crawl commander continued. We offer you one chance. Surrender now, and we will only destroy your dimensional technology. Resist, and we will reduce your entire station to atoms. Walker glanced at Anna, who nodded slightly. The seventh dimensional core was almost ready. We decline your generous offer, Walker said, his voice firm. This is your final warning. Withdraw your fleet. The crawl commander's face twisted in rage. So be it. Your species requires another lesson in humility. The transmission cut off. Multiple weapons locks, Mark shouted. They're charging main guns. The space around Neptune lit up as dozens of crawl ships opened fire. Streams of energy lanced toward the Prometheus and the station behind it. Shields at maximum, Tom called from engineering. But they won't hold against this kind of firepower for long. Anna's hands flew across her console. The core is ready. Dimensional shift in 3, 2, 1. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, everything changed. The Prometheus shuddered as reality itself bent around it. The seventh dimensional core pulsed with power, and suddenly Walker could see what Anna had been talking about. The space around them wasn't just empty. It was alive with patterns and possibilities, layers of reality that the crawl, for all their advanced technology, couldn't even perceive. It's beautiful, Lisa whispered, watching as the crawl energy weapons passed harmlessly through spaces where the Prometheus both was and wasn't. Multiple dimensional signatures, Anna called out, her voice excited. The ship isn't just moving through dimensions, it's existing in all of them simultaneously. The crawl weapons can't hit us because we're not really here, or we're everywhere. The crawl fleet's perfect formation broke as their commanders realized their weapons were useless. Several ships tried to retreat, but they moved with the clumsy uncertainty of beings limited to conventional space. They're scanning us, Mark reported, trying to figure out what we are, what we're doing. But their sensors can't make sense of it. Walker watched the patterns shifting around his ship, understanding now why the aliens had missed this. Their logical, ordered minds couldn't grasp the beautiful chaos of the seventh dimension. But human minds, with their ability to see patterns in chaos, to find meaning in randomness, they were made for this. Send a message to the Crawl fleet, Walker ordered. Tell them this is their final warning. The next time they fire, we won't just evade. We'll respond. As Lisa transmitted the message, the Prometheus danced through dimensions that the Crawl couldn't even see. Their mighty fleet, terror of the galaxy, hung helpless in space, their weapons useless against an enemy they couldn't properly perceive. The laughter had stopped, and the galaxy would never be the same. Commander Walker felt it first, a strange tingling at the base of his skull. The bridge of the Prometheus had gone eerily quiet, the usual hum of electronics replaced by something else, something almost like breathing. "Dr. Reed," he called out, his voice sounding distant to his own ears. "Something's happening." Anna was already moving between monitoring stations, her eyes wide with wonder. The displays showed impossible readings, energy patterns that twisted and flowed like living things. "The seventh dimensional core," she breathed. "It's not just powering the ship anymore. It's connecting with us." Tom's voice crackled over the intercom from engineering. "Doctor, the core's energy signature is matching the crew's brainwave patterns. It's like the ship is trying to sync with our consciousness." Walker gripped his chair as new sensations flooded his mind. He could feel the Prometheus around him, not just as a vessel, but as an extension of himself. Through the ship's sensors, he perceived the universe in ways no human ever had before. "I can see them," Lisa whispered from her station. "The Crawl ships. I can see right through their hulls. Their crew, their engines, their weapons. Everything exists in multiple dimensions at once." "We all can," Anna confirmed, her voice filled with excitement. "The seventh dimension isn't just another layer of spacetime. It's a bridge between consciousness and reality. The ship isn't just traveling through dimensions. It's allowing us to perceive and interact with all of them simultaneously." The main screen showed the Crawl fleet still surrounding them, but now everyone on the bridge could see more than just the physical ships. They saw layers upon layers of reality, each one containing different versions of the same moment. "Their weapons," Mark reported from Tactical, "they're trying to track us through standard space, but we're not. We're not exactly there anymore." Walker stood up, and suddenly he could feel every part of the Prometheus responding to his thoughts. The ship wasn't just a machine anymore. It had become a living thing. Its consciousness merged with the crew's through the seventh dimensional core. "Amazing," Anna said, checking readings. "The core is using our natural human ability to perceive the seventh dimension, amplifying it through the ship's systems. We're not just observing multiple dimensions, we're existing in all of them at once." Through their shared connection, Walker felt his crew's mix of awe and fear. The sensation was overwhelming but not uncomfortable. It felt right, somehow, as if humans had always been meant to experience reality this way. "More Crawl ships incoming," Mark announced. "They're calling for reinforcements." But Walker wasn't worried. Through his connection with the ship, he could see the Crawl vessels for what they were, primitive things, trapped in linear space and time. Their powerful engines and advanced weapons seemed almost crude now, like stone tools compared to modern technology. "They're scanning us again," Lisa reported, "trying to understand what we've become. Their sensors, they can't make sense of what they're seeing." Anna moved to Walker's side, her eyes glowing with the same energy that now pulsed through the ship. "The Crawl think they're so advanced because they conquered the first 6 dimensions, but they never understood the truth. The 7th dimension isn't about travel or power. It's about perception, about consciousness itself." Through the Prometheus's sensors, Walker watched as reality rippled around them. The ship wasn't just avoiding the Crawl weapons. It was shifting between possible realities, choosing the safest path through dimensions that the aliens couldn't even see. "Send a message to Earth Command," Walker ordered, his voice resonating with new authority. Tell them Project Oracle was successful beyond our wildest expectations. The Prometheus isn't just a ship anymore. It's become humanity's bridge to a higher level of existence. As the message was sent, Walker felt something else through his connection with the ship, a sense of destiny fulfilled. Humanity had been laughed at, mocked for their primitive understanding of dimensional physics. But their supposedly simple minds had achieved something the advanced races never could: true communion with the higher dimensions of reality. The Prometheus pulsed with power, its hull shimmering with energy patterns that defied conventional physics. Through their shared consciousness, crew and ship had become something entirely new, something that would change the galaxy forever. The awakening had begun. The Krall Admiral's voice boomed through the Prometheus's communication system, but to the crew, it sounded distant and primitive, like an echo from a simpler universe. "This is your final warning, human vessel," the Admiral threatened. "Our full battle fleet has arrived. Surrender now, or be destroyed." Through his connection with the ship, Walker saw the truth. Over 50 new Krall warships had emerged from hyperspace, their weapons charged and shields at maximum. In normal space, it would have been an overwhelming force. But the Prometheus wasn't in normal space anymore, not entirely. "Dr. Reed," Walker called, his voice calm. "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Anna nodded, her hands moving across her console with practiced ease. The seventh dimensional core pulsed in harmony with their thoughts, showing them things no alien race had ever perceived. "Their ships exist in multiple possible states," she explained. "In one dimension, their shields are at full power. In another, they're completely vulnerable. The seventh dimension lets us see all these states at once, and choose which one becomes reality." The Krall ships moved into attack formation, their crystalline hulls glinting in Neptune's distant light. They formed a perfect sphere around the Prometheus, their targeting systems locked and ready. "They're going to fire," Mark announced from Tactical, but his voice held no fear, only fascination as he watched the energy pattern swirl around the enemy fleet. Walker stood from his command chair, feeling the Prometheus respond to his movement. The ship wasn't just machinery anymore. It was an extension of human consciousness, a bridge between thought and reality. "Show them what we can do," he ordered. The Prometheus moved, but it didn't move like a normal ship. It shifted through possibilities, existing in multiple moments simultaneously. To the Krall sensors, it must have looked like the human vessel was everywhere and nowhere at once. "First target," Walker said, focusing his thoughts through the ship's systems. He chose a Krall heavy cruiser, one of their newest and most powerful vessels. The Prometheus didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, it reached through the seventh dimension, touching the very fabric of reality around the Krall ship. In one dimension, the cruiser's reactor was stable. In another, it was failing. The Prometheus simply nudged the probability. The Krall cruiser's shields flickered and died, its reactor automatically shutting down to prevent catastrophic failure. The mighty warship drifted helplessly in space, its crew unable to understand what had happened. "By the stars," Lisa whispered, watching through the ship's enhanced perceptions, "we didn't even have to destroy them. We just changed what was possible." The Krall fleet opened fire, hundreds of energy beams converging on the Prometheus's position. But the human ship danced through dimensions, choosing timelines where the shots passed harmlessly through empty space. It was like trying to hit a shadow with a rock. "Their flagship is moving to coordinate the attack," Mark reported. "They still think this is a conventional battle." Walker almost felt sorry for them. The Krall, for all their advanced technology, were trapped in their linear understanding of reality. They couldn't see the infinite possibilities that surrounded them, couldn't comprehend how a primitive human ship was systematically dismantling their fleet. One by one, Krall ships lost power, their systems failing in ways that should have been impossible. The Prometheus moved through their formation like a ghost, untouchable and unstoppable. "Message from the Krall Admiral," Lisa announced. They're requesting a ceasefire." The mighty Krall battle fleet hung motionless in space, more than half their ships drifting powerless. Not a single vessel had been destroyed. The Prometheus hadn't needed to kill anyone to prove its point. "Open a channel," Walker ordered. The Admiral's face appeared on screen, its metallic features twisted in a mix of fear and awe. "What? What are you?" Walker smiled. "We're what you called impossible. We're what you laughed at. We're humanity, seeing the universe as it truly is for the first time." Through the seventh-dimensional core, Walker felt his crew's unified purpose. They had not just defeated the Crawl. They had shown the galaxy a new way of existing. "Return to your territory," Walker said. "Tell the Council what happened here. Tell them humanity is ready to share what we've learned, but only if they're ready to listen this time." The Crawl fleet retreated, leaving behind their powerless ships for recovery teams to assist. The Prometheus hung in space, its hull shimmering with seventh-dimensional energy, a testament to humanity's unique place in the universe. The laughter had stopped. The lesson had been taught, and the galaxy would never be the same. 1 month after the Neptune incident, Commander Walker stood once again in the great chamber of the Unified Council of Species. This time, however, the atmosphere was very different. No one was laughing. The Prometheus hung visible through the chamber's massive observation window, its hull shimmering with seventh-dimensional energy patterns that only humans could fully perceive. Even at rest, the ship radiated a presence that made the most advanced alien vessels look primitive by comparison. "The Council recognizes Earth," announced the Council leader, its platinum skin reflecting the chamber's soft light. The beam's voice carried none of its previous condescension. "Commander Walker, you have the floor." Walker stepped forward, Dr. Anna Reed at his side. The chamber was packed with representatives from every spacefaring race, their attention focused entirely on the two humans. "1 month ago," Walker began, "you laughed at humanity's understanding of dimensional physics. Today, we offer to share everything we've learned." A murmur ran through the assembled aliens, the tall ones, who had laughed the loudest at Earth's previous presentation, leaned forward in their energy containment fields, their crystalline forms pulsing with interest. Anna activated a holographic display, showing the complex patterns of seventh-dimensional energy the humans could naturally perceive. "What you see as random noise, we see as doorways to understanding reality itself. The seventh dimension isn't just another layer of space-time. It's the foundation that connects all dimensions together." "Impossible," declared a silicon-based being from the upper tiers. "Our sciences have proven." "Your sciences," Anna interrupted gently, "are based on logic and order. But the universe isn't always logical. Sometimes, you need a different kind of mind to see the truth." She gestured, and the hologram changed to show brain scan comparisons. "Human consciousness developed differently from yours. Where you see chaos, we see patterns. Where you see randomness, we see possibilities. It's not that we're more advanced. We're just different." The Council leader raised a hand. "The Crawl fleet's report was disturbing. They claim your ship could exist in multiple realities at once, that you could alter probability itself." Walker nodded. "The Prometheus doesn't just travel through dimensions. It bridges the gap between consciousness and reality. Through it, we can perceive and interact with all possible states of existence." "And yet," the Council leader noted, "you didn't destroy a single Crawl vessel. You could have eliminated their entire fleet." "That's not our way," Walker said firmly. "Humanity doesn't seek dominance. We seek understanding. That's why we're here today." Anna stepped forward. "We propose a new kind of council, not one based on technological advancement or military power, but on shared knowledge and mutual growth. Every species perceives reality differently. Together, we might see things that none of us could see alone." The chamber erupted in discussion. Walker could see the fear in some faces, the excitement in others. Through his lingering connection to the seventh dimension, he could almost see the multiple possibilities of this moment branching out before them. "And if we refuse?" asked a voice from the crowd. "If we reject this offer? Then we go our own way," Walker replied calmly. Earth doesn't need permission to explore the seventh dimension. But we'd rather explore it with allies than alone. The council leader was silent for a long moment, its ancient eyes studying the two humans. Finally, it spoke. In all our history, no species has ever made such an offer after achieving such power. You could dominate the galaxy, yet you choose cooperation. Maybe that's why we can see what you couldn't, Anna suggested. Because we understand that the greatest discoveries come not from domination, but from working together. The council leader stood, its decision made. The council accepts Earth's proposal. Let this day mark the beginning of a new era, one where all our species learn from each other. As the chamber filled with sounds of approval, Walker looked out at the Prometheus. The ship pulsed gently, as if agreeing with the decision. Through it, humanity had proven itself to the galaxy. Not through force, but through understanding. Not through superiority, but through cooperation. The laughter had stopped, replaced by something far more valuable: respect. And as representatives from across the galaxy approached to begin learning about the seventh dimension, Walker knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not by conquering them, but by seeing them in a way no one else could. And the universe would never be the same.